PlayStation Drive is starting. While you wait, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon on YouTube to be notified of future goodness. If you enjoy our show, we'd love it if you gave us a 5-star review or rating on your podcast service of choice. To continue the conversation, join the Carpool Gaming Discord, where you can find a wholesome community to have a chit-chat with. For some exclusive content, you can also support us on Patreon. And finally, don't forget to check out the Carpool Gaming website for an awesome range of merch. Links to all that and more are in the show notes, but without further ado, let's get revved up for the PlayStation Drive. Whoa!
What's up, everybody? Welcome on in. This is the PlayStation Drive, episode 149. That's right, folks. Only one more episode until 150, a milestone episode. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ryan, and I am joined, as always, by Ron. And welcoming back, Fuya is back as well. Hi guys. How is everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Yeah,
Koala's back.
Yep. The Platinum Queen, RPG Queen. You know, it's fine. You're back. You're back.
Right. Queen of PSD.
I was gonna say, I think you're still the Platinum Queen at this point. I don't think Ron's retaken the crown yet.
So. No,
I'm pretty sure she
I haven't
probably
platinumed
is.
anything. I haven't platinumed anything.
No, but Ron hasn't either. That's the difference.
Nope, sure haven't.
Ron's still behind.
No, I'm pretty sure you're ahead of me still.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. No.
I always try to be so humble and modest.
No.
You know you're ahead of me.
Fully, of course, once again, just trying to get rid of this title that she's
That's
so
right.
earned.
Call her out, Ryan. Call her out.
She's too good at games. Of course, Matt could not join us tonight, but he'll be back next week. But
he's here in the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's doing squirrely things. I mean, the main thing, he's over on Twitter making all these videos, you know, promoting the show and stuff, hanging out with himself, I guess, because he's trying to invoke the hit 1990 movie starring Michael Keaton, Multiplicity, where he's just around here multiplying himself and just,
oh my goodness,
doing all these skits. Yeah, I've been enjoying seeing that over the last couple of weeks. So.
He's doing a lot better than when I started doing those video posts, and then I converted to text, and now he's doing the video posts, and he's like 100% upped me.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah.
It's not a competition.
Well,
not anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
God. But also, you know, I know that next week's episode 150, milestone episode, but this episode, in a way, has been a little bit of a mini milestone because I just realized this when putting the show together, but it's been officially 3 months since y'all joined, since we had
Lord,
the new
has
crew.
it been that long already?
Yeah.
Man.
I know. I can't believe it either. But, yeah, so it's been...
The brain trust hasn't got rid of me yet. This is great.
I mean, you also haven't had to be in charge yet, Ron, but your time's coming.
No, there's no yet
pretty
there.
Soon.
Let's just rewind and cross that out.
You should wait until I take some time off, Ron. You'll be in charge. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
No.
Can't wait.
We've been together for 14 episodes now.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So, yeah, I just wanted to, shout that out a little bit. Pat ourselves on the back a little bit. Instead of just patting the chat, we wanted to pat ourselves on the back a little bit. So, let's, of course, get into some housekeeping. Because we got new patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. We mentioned on last week's show, both Ziggerson and Neat Creature both joined at the 7-day free trial. But that 7-day free trial is now over, my friends, because now they have permanently joined that exclusive tier. So shout out to
the fam. Welcome.
So shout out to Ziggerson and Nick Creature for sticking with us, enjoying that exclusive content over there on Patreon. Like the episode of Sweet Hangs that aired today, that should be up sometime this week, as well as the chat with a certain koala over there that went up on Thursday as well. As well as a whole bunch of other stuff over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Also, Smokin Joe is back as a platinum producer, so shout out to Smokin Joe. And Brian Eck, shout out to him for increasing his level of support on the old Patreon. So shout out to all of our friends over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And if you want to head on over there, choose the tier that's right for you. You can head on over there and get some great exclusive content. Well, without further ado, friends, let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It's time for the playlist. It's time to talk about what we played this week because Ron, as always, you always go first, my friend. What did you play this week?
So I ended up dropping Octopath Traveler.
No, what happened?
No.
The grind, man, it finally wore me down. It finally wore me down. I was doing pretty good, but then by the time I got to Thursday and then yesterday, I just couldn't do it anymore. I really liked a lot about that game, but I gotta say that the grind, and also on top of, I really wish I could just sit there and just change my party on the fly. I mean, if you got the wrong character with you and you start running into enemies that you do not have a weapon type for, those fights are going to get drawn out, and it's going to become quite spongy for a while, because it's like instantly. At first, it was just bosses that were spongy, and then all of a sudden, it's like all the random encounters were like that, and it's just like, good grief. I could power through it, but I was like, I'm just in chapter 2 of some of my characters. I still have so many chapters to go, and I was just like, yeah, 40 hours in, and I'm just like, I'm already kind of starting to feel this way about it, so I decided to go ahead and just let it go. It was a hard choice, because like I said, there's a lot I like about it, but I just couldn't keep doing that.
No, but you know what? If you're not enjoying it, that's what you should be doing. Like, rather than force yourself to play something you don't like, there's no problem and no shame with putting down a game that you aren't enjoying.
You gotta do it sometimes. But what I am enjoying is the game that I sit there and started today, the Centennial Case, a Shijima story. I completely forgot I had it. It popped up on the wheel, and I was just like, oh, forgot I bought that a long time ago. It's pretty much an investigative story. The very first case was like a murder mystery. Man, I am having a good time with that. You gotta pay attention to it, because you might miss some clues and stuff, and some of the conversations that people are having. You kind of gotta listen to it. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really great so far. I don't know how many cases is in it, because I just finished my very first one, but I'm looking forward to continuing that one.
Okay. Is it more of like a visual novel, or like what kind of game? How does it play?
It's not. It's almost like I don't know if you play the game Erica that was on PlayStation. It's almost like that, but better.
Oh, so like an FMV game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's and the way they do it is it's really great. So
Okay.
shockingly, I didn't hear anybody talk about the game, but it was I think it rated pretty good on OpenCritic, so I ended up getting it. And yeah, man, so far it's really great.
Okay. I love a good FMV game, Ron. I mean, that's something that goes all the way back to my Sega CD days. So anytime you hear me, I hear you talk about this. Oh, this is a Square Enix joint. It looks.
Yeah, I was shocked. I'll keep you posted on it, because like I said, man, I was surprised by how good it is right now.
Okay. Did you know, Ron, that the developers who made this also were the creators of Kingdom Hearts Recoded on mobile phones?
I did not know that. I did not.
Oh, jeez.
Well, at least the story's good so far. So
Oh, okay.
it's not Kingdom Hearts related in that part.
Yeah, that's weird that they did this like FMV game, because I'm looking back at some of their other games, and they're mostly known for like mobile games, and then they're mostly like Naruto games, or the World Ends With You, the iPhone port of that.
Never would have guessed it. I was already surprised when I saw Square Enix had published it, but yeah, man, I wouldn't have guessed it.
That's really cool. I'll have to look more into that one, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Fuya, what about you? I know you've been gone for a couple weeks, so I'm curious to know what games you even had time to play, because I know you've been busy.
You've been so busy, yeah.
Yeah, I've been working at the theater for the last couple of weeks, plus the fact that I've been readjusting myself to my new work times. So it's been rough. But the games that I have had the opportunity to play, so I have been playing a bit more of Dave the Diver. It's actually really fun. I'm really enjoying it. Just going through the motion of that. Speaking of scuba diving, I've also picked up Endless Ocean Luminous, and I've been playing this game a lot. More scuba diving, but this is more zen, more chill, and it's kind of Pokemon Snap-esque in a way that you're going around and you're scanning creatures, let's see, like marine life, and you learn facts about them, and you get to take photos of them, and it's actually really cool. So I've been it's been my sort of chill out game where I can just sort of zone out and not have to worry about anything. I can just swim and just scan and whatever, and not have to worry about anything. I can even, like, I've listened to a podcast while I've been playing this. Like, that's how chill it pretty much is. So I don't have to worry too much about it, and that's why I've been really enjoying it. So it's actually really good. I actually had earlier today a discussion with Nintendvania on their podcast. Shout out to them about Endless Ocean Luminous, and it was good fun. Another game that I've also jumped back into and I played more of is the Unicorn Overlord demo.
Let's go. Let's go. Unicorn Overlord.
Pretty much at the end of the demo length. Like, I have hit, I think, about the 6.5 hour mark.
Yeah.
I've like an hour and a half left, and then that'll be that in terms of playing that demo.
Yeah. They're going to finally get you. You're going to have to actually buy the game at some point.
Are you gonna purchase?
Not for $95, I'm not.
Well, yeah, I forgot when I saw that on the screen. I was like, is that in Australian dollars?
It is.
Like, gee.
I was gonna say it's been going on sale a lot though. So I mean, yeah,
Okay.
if you're patient, like honestly, you'll probably see it on sale. Because
Yeah,
Sega's been
Vanillaware
putting a
stuff
lot of their
goes
stuff on sale.
Quick.
Yeah, so I've got it wishlisted on my PlayStation Store, but I've also got my eyes peeled at work as to when it does go on sale. So that, but the thing is, like, they didn't bring out very many physical copies that I'm noticing.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I know, like,
Yeah.
physical copies here are plentiful and are going on sale a lot. Like, that's where we're seeing a lot of the sales. Like,
Okay.
I saw it down to $35 American dollars a couple weeks ago. So,
Okay.
yeah, like maybe Australia is different. Where maybe they just didn't ship as many copies to Australia. Maybe that's
Possibly. I think that might be the case, considering the fact that us Aussies don't really play that many RPGs.
right.
Shameful.
Yeah, it is quite sad to know that that's the thing here, unfortunately. That's why I don't really see very many copies of like certain RPGs. Or maybe it's just the demographic of where my store is situated in terms of its suburb, that mostly they play a lot of like fighters and FPS and sports games compared to other genres. So that's why I haven't really been seeing very many physical copies of RPGs. But I'm going to keep my eye out for Unicorn Overlord, so that as soon as it goes on sale, I'm going to definitely pick it up. I really enjoyed the gameplay from the demo so far. So, yeah, definitely really looking forward to it.
Look how far you've come. Look how far you've come. You're playing all kinds of games that you would never touch before. This is fantastic. Evolution of Koala.
Yeah. All it took was, getting to be able to play the game for free for 8 hours.
Yeah.
It definitely helped. But
Demos,
clearly,
people. Demos.
clearly, Fulia, this just means that your store must have a bajillion more copies of Topspin 2K25 than they do of Unicorn Overlord.
Wow. I don't know about that, but...
You said sports games. That's
You're going to have to go to the store and count now.
Mostly FIFA. Mostly FIFA.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant by sports games. Sadly.
So no copies of Madden for Ron?
No Madden? No NBA 2K down there?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, sometimes, but mostly like AFL and cricket. And,
Rugby?
Yeah.
actually, no, not rugby. We do have
really?
Madden. Madden has popped up quite a bit, and wrestling,
Okay.
wrestling as well.
Not surprised
Wrestling's
there.
pretty big here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's one of my wrestling moves. I'm sorry. doing the tombstone pile driver.
Cool. Anyway, the last thing I'm going to mention in terms of games that I've played. What? What? Because the anyway man.
You did.
That's
Just
fine.
moved right on past it.
I'm glad that she's at least learning from the master here.
Yes.
Yeah.
She hasn't missed a beat. She's just hopping right back in it.
Again, it gives me faith so that when Ron's in charge, Fulia will be able to, anyways, in my place.
Okay, so the last thing, speaking of demos, I have been checking. Yeah, cricket. Yeah, yes, JB, cricket. You know the sport, right? It's the bat with the ball, and yeah.
You just described
Kinda-
like 5 different sports, Fulia.
I mean, it's kind of like baseball, but it's not. Believe me.
Oh, I know. Sometimes a game can take 2 days in cricket.
Oh yeah, Yeah, test
Oh, no,
test matches.
sir.
Yeah, they take a long
No,
time.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue, Floyd.
Yes, thank you. Speaking of demos, considering that I've played through the Unicorn Overlord demo, I've been playing indie demos. And the one that I want to show you all right now is called Star Stuff. And it is a little puzzle game where you sort of go around and you have to program like droids or press buttons to get across and sort of get it, like maneuver your way through specific areas of platform. So this is just my video of me playing through a bit of the demo where you can, as you can see, you just sort of picking up blocks and pushing buttons, kind of like Portal almost, but without the portals essentially. And it's just a really cute sort of puzzle game. It's set in space. And the puzzles do get a little bit more sort of like technical. So if they do get to a point where you have to program droids by coding them, and my video is buffering. It's so bad. But yeah, so yeah, you have lines of code for the droids, and you have to figure out their movements in so many lines of code, which is really cool as well. So I kind of like this type of game. Like puzzles are great, and yeah, it's cute and fun, and the art style is amazing. And yeah, if you want to check it out, the demo is available on Steam at the moment. I'm not quite sure if it's coming to any other console just yet. Potentially, maybe on Switch. I'm not quite sure. They haven't said anything, but my gosh, this like video is not.
It's all good. I'm just gonna hide it.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, so I've been really enjoying playing through that and like some other indie demos that I've been playing as well. Tavern Talk was another one that I played through, and that one has so that one's kind of like Coffee Talk and D&D sort of matched together, where you're the innkeeper at a tavern and you're creating the potions for the characters that go out on their adventures. And so you're there helping them, give them like strength potions or, defense potions, but you're making them as if they're a cocktail, like for them to drink. And it's kind of a bit of a visual novel as well, because you're talking to these characters, they're telling you their story and what they want to do and what they want to achieve, and it's got some humorous dialogue as well. It's really cool, and I really love the art style as well. The Demo Queen, yes, that title I will take.
I was just about to say, like, I'm glad Riley and I are on the same page there.
So take that one.
I'll take that one. That's why I love demos.
I was gonna say, like, every week you come in here with like you played like 5 or 6 demos, so
yeah, essentially. Like I've got so many other demos lined up that I'm ready to go through them all. Yes, Ron.
With you being a celebrity now, how do you find time for video games?
Me a celebrity, as if.
Just saying.
I am no celebrity.
I don't know. You work in the theater.
Interviews all over the place, popping up on different shows, and at the theater, and video games, and working. Come on.
I'm at the theater, but I'm not on stage. I'm backstage.
Hey, that is work too. Don't downplay
That doesn't make me the celebrity.
Don't downplay it.
But yes, demos are great because it gives me a chance to find out what I am in for with certain games that I'm not sure about. So,
well, there you go. There you go. Yeah. God, she should win an award for that at the Game Awards in December.
Most demos played.
Most demos played.
Let me call Jeff Keighley right now.
Yeah, that could be an award. Oh my God.
He'll just cut you off during your speech more than likely.
Poor Folia.
I wouldn't even know what to say. I'd be like, "Thank you," and then walk off.
Just say thanks.
Yeah. Doesn't need to be a long speech.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. Just say thank you, everybody.
Yeah. You'd also say thanks to Ron if you want to. That'd be nice.
You can always shout out M2. Or you can sit there and make it, Trials of Mana.
Whoa.
How disappointed you are.
That's a good game, Ron. Get out of here with that. See, even Riley is just like, whoa, Ron.
Shots fired. I did mention that in the chat with
Sean. You sure did. You sure did.
In passing, it was
It's all right.
It flowed well with the conversation.
It's okay. You know I keep receipts. It's fine.
It's all right. Just wait for the Pants podcast. So.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing.
Nice. Well, as for me, similar to Fulia, actually, I was on a brand new sleep schedule this week, so everything got thrown off. But also, it was weird because I was actually awake in the mornings, and I was actually off work at 5 every day, which meant I could actually go do stuff in the evening, which like never happens to me. So
yes,
out in the world during daytime still.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it either. So
that's my schedule at the moment.
You know, that was my schedule this week and this week only. So I needed to take advantage of that. So like, you know, I went to go see an anime movie in the theaters.
Nice.
What'd you go see?
I went to go see Gundam Seed Freedom.
Okay.
Which is like the sequel to the Gundam Seed series, which I love from the early 2000s. And they took forever for them to make a movie sequel, but it was pretty good. It was cool to watch it in the theater because I don't really get to see anime that often in the theater because of when they usually time them out. So it was cool. It was cool to be in like a sold out theater with a bunch of people cheering at the screen and stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But then I went to like a Magic the Gathering Commander night, like not once, but twice this week. I even went out on a date this week. So I mean, I did a bunch of different stuff this week.
That's awesome.
So
That's what I'm talking about.
So why I'm throwing this in here, I played less games this week than normal.
It's all right. The moose was on the loose. It's all right.
I was too busy, doing actual stuff. How did the sun feel like? Says GB in the chat. First of all, blinding and too hot as usual. But what was nice is I only actually had to go to the office twice this week. So
that's really cool.
I actually mostly worked from home all week, so I barely had to see the sun anyways, which was great. So, and then when I was finally ready to actually go out, it was dark enough. So
solid week, nice.
Yeah. So as far as games I played, number one, more Final Fantasy 14. But I'm kind of like at the point now where I'm content. I hit all my goals now because I have one character that is fully maxed out with all the classes at this point. So really the only reason I'm signing into Final Fantasy 14 right now is I'm in the process of buying Carpool Gaming a house in Final Fantasy 14. But the way that Final Fantasy 14 works is there's like this housing lottery that you have to do where like anytime a house goes up for sale, you can put your bid in, and everyone has to bid the same thing, but it just picks a random number depending on how many people actually bid on the property. And some of the estate properties, which is what we need for the Carpool Gaming Guild, there's usually about 15 to 20 people bidding on them at once. So it's just a matter of going in there and hopefully we'll win one of these lotteries at some point. I've been basically doing this now for like 4 months, trying to buy a house for us in Final Fantasy 14. I already have a house for my character, but I'm trying because you can only bid on one house per week, and there could be like 20 or 30 people who bid on that same house. It's just like your chances are
sounds
slim.
like the real housing market.
It is kind of like the real housing market. Yes, exactly. I mean, Bowser is correct though. When we do get it though, we are going to have a Final Fantasy 14 house party when the Carpool Gaming house becomes a thing, because I'm gonna buy a submarine. I'm gonna buy like a disco ball and a stripper pole. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Y'all are gonna love it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Plus, anyone who's actually in
respectfully, respectfully,
of course. But also,
I saw that face you were making.
Yeah. Anyone who's actually in the free company will also be allowed to actually get like Lisa, like one of the rooms in the house as well, which will be super cool. So it's gonna be the place to hang out in Final Fantasy 14 if we can get it. But that's what I've been checking in is just to do that. But honestly, the rest of my gaming time has basically just been playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I am catching up to Matt very quickly at this point. I'm almost done Chapter 7. And from what I've read, Chapter 8 is very short. And Matt's on Chapter 9. So I am dangerously
close. That is wild
close.
that you have just caught up with that man in no time.
Well, here's the thing, right? So Matt's been playing through a lot of the mini games, trying to unlock the trophies for them to get first place in a lot of it. And that is why it's slowing him down.
Yeah. Well, the fighting the summons, too, took him a little bit of time.
Well, yeah, him grinding for literally no reason. Ron back to make himself get better at the game. But no, you're absolutely right, Fulia. Now, to be fair, I am 100%ing the open world and everything in it, and playing all the mini games that are associated with it. But if I don't come in first place, it's something I'm not continually grinding at it. So that you're right, that does add some time. But I'm like 20 hours in, and I'm pretty close to where he is. But I feel like also like if someone didn't want to do all that stuff, like I think they'd still have a great time with this game with just playing kind of just mainlining it without doing a lot of the side stuff. But I'm doing all the side stuff in the world because I'm really enjoying this game still. It's still kind of everything I wanted it to be. There are some little things in the story that I know Ron's mentioned that are interesting, to say the least. Interesting changes. But it was so cool to see, like, Rufus's kind of ceremony play out in the main game, as well as like the Costa del Sol part was really cool. And now I'm kind of, at near the end of Mount Corral's section with the whole thing with Barrett's backstory, and
yeah, Barrett's stuff was great.
Yeah. So
yeah, man.
I'm really, really enjoying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and it's just my game at this moment. It's the thing I'm focusing on. Hellblade 2 is actually coming out in a couple weeks, and I think I will be playing that probably at some point. But other than that, like, I don't have anything else this month anyway, so I just want to focus down 7 Rebirth before touching anything else, before touching Stellar Blade or some of these other games. So there you go. Those are the games I played this week, y'all. I also watched a lot of movies too, so there's that as well.
All right.
Let's shift on over to our topic of the week. So today's topic of the week comes to us from a nice young man. I don't know if you've heard of him, Nagachaka, aka Matt, who wrote in this question. Hi there, long-time listener, first time writing in. What's the best indie game to play on the PlayStation platform, and why is it Night in the Woods? So today, of course, inspired by his question, we are going to talk about our favorite indie games on the PlayStation platform. Again, we didn't really decide like an arbitrary number before we got started, so we didn't really say how many of these we're gonna talk about or anything like that. And I'm gonna be real with y'all right now. I'm the type of person that most people know that just doesn't play a ton of indie games. When there's a indie game that appeals to me, I'm usually jumping into it. But I'm going to be very boring with some of my picks. So just be forewarned before we get into it. I'm kind of expecting Ron and Fulia to kind of carry this conversation a little bit. So we're going to kind of go around the horn as we usually do and talk about some of our favorite indies. So Ron, since you haven't talked in a while, I'm going to start with you, man. What is your what's an indie game that you love on PlayStation?
Citizen Sleeper. I played it on Steam, but it is available on PlayStation, and PlayStation fans should check it out. You do a lot of reading, but it's choice driven. You pretty much have a certain amount of energy that you can devote towards your day, but you have to be careful with what you pick, because every action that you take is going to be a certain amount of energy. So you can't do everything in one go. But the storylines are great. The characters are great. Like I said, it's a very narrative game, but Citizen Sleeper is just a really great experience. There's no reason why somebody who's into stories should not play that game. I mean, I know a lot of people say there's a lot of reading, but if you play RPGs, you read a lot anyway. That should be nothing. But you should definitely check it out. Citizen Sleeper is a definite great game. Nice.
Yeah, I remember like when Matt Sawinski and I were hosting the show back in the day, like that was one like he would never shut up about that game. Like he was always telling me how much he was really enjoying it, and I know a lot of people really enjoyed that game too, Ron. So not surprised you brought that up. Good pick.
Thanks.
Fulia, what about you? What's one indie game you wanted to highlight here?
Well, considering the fact that Ron has chosen a decision-based sort of game, I'm going to give you another one, and that's Harmony Fall of Reverie, and that game is phenomenal. I absolutely love Harmony. It is a very story-driven, very choice-based, outcomes, consequences type game, and it is definitely worth checking out. There are there's a few different endings to it, but you don't have to sit through the whole thing in order to like see the different endings. If you wanted to, depending on the choices you've made earlier on, you could potentially just go back and through different chapters and just replay the chapters. But I loved it so much so that I actually wanted to start from scratch and just make my way through the different decisions that way, just so that I could see the different outcomes in that sense. Because the storytelling was just great. The voice acting is amazing. And yeah, it's just like, it really gets you thinking about what kind of decision to make because you can't see the outcome, because some of the consequences don't pop up until future chapters. So depending on what you choose in earlier chapters, the consequence could be something completely, different, and something you may or may not have wanted in the first place. So, because depending on those consequences, the consequences usually lock you out of playing through those pathways. But yeah, it's just an overall great game. The music in that is also really, really cool. So yeah, definitely big shout outs to Harmony, The Fall of Reverie.
Nice. Yeah. I know you talked about that a lot while you were playing it on the show. So, and
you can play the demo on PlayStation.
I was gonna say, like, the demo's been sitting on my PS5 for a while now. I do want to get to it at some point. Maybe after Rebirth, I try it. We'll see. But that's pretty cool. As for me, being the RPG person, I have to at least bring up an indie RPG here. One that actually came out a bunch of years ago, but I know not everyone checked this one out. But this was originally like a Kickstarter that developed into a full game. That's Cosmic Star Heroine from Zeboyd Games.
Nice.
It's a turn-based role-playing game, very much calling back to the era of Sega CD role-playing games in particular, where one of the developers took to Twitter and basically, when they talking about the development of that game and its inspirations, it was very much inspired by Lunar, the Silver Star, which Garrett and I talked about a couple weeks ago on the RPG Cave, to the point where they designed like the cutscenes and stuff to really emulate a Sega CD game. So as someone who loves Sega CD role-playing games like Lunar, it was so cool to actually play like almost like what I would interpret as like a modern sci-fi take on that style of gaming. So and of course it doesn't take itself too seriously. It has like a very kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of jokey story, which they've always done with a lot of their games, like Cthulhu Saves Christmas or the Penny Arcade games. They've all kind of been like that. But it's got really solid combat, with some tough enemies, and great abilities. And the best part is the game is very respectable of your time. You can basically beat and platinum the game in about like 10 to 15 hours. So it's a very short role-playing game. Even if you want to do all the stuff, you can play through it fairly quickly. So I have to give a shout out to Cosmic Star Heroine. There's also a game that they released last year called This Way Madness Lies, which fuses Sailor Moon with William Shakespeare. And I do really want to play that game at some point as well.
I have that. It's on the wheel. I can't wait.
Yeah, I am excited to eventually find time to play that game. Because
sorry, what was the name of that game again, please?
This Way Madness Lies.
Was it Shakespeare that got you?
It was the Sailor Moon part, I think. Yeah, because you're basically playing as magical girls, but then there's like a bunch of like Shakespearean style play stuff going on there. It's a cool looking game.
It is. The trailer's pretty good for it.
And it's very much inspired by, a set of RPGs I've talked about on the show before, the Sailor Moon role-playing games on the Super Nintendo, which I played, thanks to translation patches. So very, very, very cool. I love Zeboyd's games. So I got to give a shout out to Cosmic Star Heroine. That game's great.
Nice, man. Nice pick.
Yeah, thanks, man. Ron, give us another pick, man.
All right, I'm going to cheat for this one. It's going to be one full experience. One full experience for this one.
Get out of here.
Seriously.
So it's going to be To the Moon, Finding Paradise, and Imposter Factory. Once again, great story. If you want to get some dust in your eye or be cutting some onions and you cheer up a little bit, that's just fine, because that's what this game goes for. Attacks the feels. Very simple graphics. The controls are simple, but the story, the way it's told, totally worth your time. All three of them. Great games. Worth your time.
Nice. Nice. What kind of games are they, Ron?
It's just pretty much just a narrative driven game. There's no like gameplay to it, nothing like that. You hit there's these orbs that you can unlock from memories. You smash the space bar a few times and sit there and open them up, and then that's that.
Okay. Nice. All right, Fulia. Hit us with another one.
Alrighty. The next one that I will give you all is Inked: A Tale of Love. And this was a game that I played at the start of the year. And it's a puzzle platformer game. And the art style is the whole thing's drawn in ballpoint ink, just ballpoint pen, and they're like some like images that'll pop up that are watercolor to bring in a bit of extra different sort of pop. But it's essentially you're going through this story of a little samurai who lost his partner in life, and it's kind of like a grieving process. Game similar to like Gree, but you're going through the different areas and trying to make your way through this particular world by doing these puzzles. And it is beautiful. It is well made. There's a little bit of voice acting by the narrator. So there's a narrator that sort of pushes you along the story, and it's overall just a great time. I really enjoyed it. Just aesthetically pleasing in just the way that it's made. It's definitely worth checking out. It's on PlayStation and on Steam, I would say. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, as for me, my next one is probably another very Ryan Turford pick. I love Mega Man, and I love 2D action platforming games. And of course, there's a bajillion indie games that kind of fit that quota. But one I want to highlight came out a long time ago on the 3DS, but then got re-released on the PS4, and they've kind of been doing all the sequels to this game on the PS4 ever since. And that is Azure Striker Gunvolt from Inti Creates. Of course, Inti Creates is the company that most people know from making Mega Man 9 and 10 back in the day, but they also do like the Bloodstained games as well. But Azure Striker Gunvolt is like almost like a tribute to Mega Man X in a lot of way, but it takes a lot of the elements of Mega Man X, but is really focused on you speeding through the level as quickly as possible. Like it's actually a game that's very much designed with speedrunners in mind, where you have this charge ability and if you charge into enemies, instead of getting hit, you actually bounce back and you target lock on them and you deal double damage to the enemies. So it really it tries to encourage you through the gameplay to be aggressive and to play through the game as quickly as possible. Of course, similar to Mega Man, you've got 8 kind of robot masters that you fight, and you can play through them in any order, and you get their different powers and abilities that you can then use to traverse through the environments or to defeat the other bosses with their weaknesses. And then it has like a big like Wily's Castle section and everything. So very, very similar structure to like a Mega Man X. Which of course just gets me going because I love the Mega Man games, and Azure Striker Gunvolt games have been great. The first 2 are really good because there's like a double pack of those on PSN, but then the sequels, the Luminous Adventure games, are both really good. They star like a different character named Copen, and he has his own set of abilities, and they have some other spin-offs and stuff, to the point where they did like a rhythm game that came out last year as well. So there's a ton of these Azure Striker Gunvolt games out there, and I love them a lot. So shout out to Azure Striker Gunvolt. But next up, Ron, I think we'll do like one more, and then we'll kind of do honorable mentions.
Okay.
Do you have another indie game you want to highlight, man?
I'm gonna throw Midnight Fight Express in there just to keep the action theme going. It's pretty much a beat 'em up. The story is complete bunk. I can barely even remember anything about it, but the action is fantastic. You talking about just a mixture of John Wick / Jason Statham movies, just going through and just opening the can on everybody and everything, and you go through several levels of doing this. It is great action. I keep hoping they're going to do a sequel or even another game that's almost like it. That is some good stuff right there. If it had a great story, man, that would have been at about a 4.5, almost a 5 to me. That's how great the action was.
It would have been a slam dunk. See, this is the slam dunk motion. Ron.
It would have.
Nice. Cool, man. What about you, Fulia? What's your next one?
I'm gonna shout out Toem, and that is a very cozy little photography adventure game, and it's all in black and white. And you just go around with your camera, you're just taking some really cute photos and just having fun. You can even take selfies, and through the lens of your cameras, you can actually collect things along the way, like hats. You can actually find hats, and your little character can change his hat set, and it's really cute. And I really like it. Yeah.
It's fine. I'm just motioning for audio listeners. I'm motioning with my hat to indicate taking off a hat and then putting the hat back on.
Yeah, Toem is definitely one to definitely check out if you haven't. It is on PlayStation. It is also an easy platinum if you collect all the trophies.
Oh,
that's going to be.
You say.
I was going to say that ties into a question we've got a little bit later in the show. So there you go.
And yeah, it's just an all-round cute, fun game. Like, why not? And the other thing I will mention is if you've played Sackboy's Big Adventure, if you go into the PlayStation Store add-ons for Sackboy's Big Adventure, you know how you can get like the costumes and stuff. There's a Toem one, which is really cute. Oh, yeah,
that's
so
interesting.
You can dress up your Sackboy as the Toem character.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I didn't think they did like a crossover with Toem. That's cool.
It kind of shocked me too, because I was just browsing through the add-ons as the free costumes that were available, and Toem popped up, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting that. Nice. And it's free.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the Sackboy ones were free,
yeah,
which is cool. So nice. That's a good pick. Luckily, also a big fan of that game too. It looks like too. Yeah. So there you go. All right, my last one is one I've talked about for years, and it's like this is like the most Ryan Turford pick of any indie game you will ever see. Because first of all, if there's anything people know about Ryan, is that I love licensed games, but also Metroidvanias. So when you combine those together in a really interesting way, you get Way Forward's The Mummy Demastered, available on your PlayStation 4 home entertainment console. Now, The Mummy, this is, of course, is based off the Tom Cruise Mummy movie.
Oh, no.
Which nobody liked. But Way Forward was like, it would not be stopped. They were like, no, we're going to make a good game out of this with this license. So they decided to do a Metroidvania where you play as a soldier who comes in contact with the mummy, and you start you survive an encounter with the mummy, and you inherit some of her abilities, kind of like Tom Cruise does in the movie. Which is interesting. And as you progress through, different, graveyards and, spooky kind of places, you'll fight all kinds of interesting enemies like giant spiders and bats and stuff like that. You'll gain different abilities that allow you to go into different parts of the environment, just like any other Metroidvania is. But the gameplay just is so fluid and fun to play, that if you're into Metroidvania games, like if you like the Metroid games or stuff like Axiom Verge, this game is totally going to be up your alley. Like, you can forget the license. You can put it out of your mind, despite the fact that there's a female mummy in this game. But that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? This game is awesome. It's so good.
Is it a Shantae game with just the demastered license on top of it?
No, it's very different from Shantae, because you're not transforming, but you have it's closer to something like Metroid or Axiom Verge.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I will point out as well, like the same kind of core group of people that worked on this game also worked on a really underrated Nintendo DS game called Alien Infestation, which was an alien Metroidvania game as well, where you had like a bunch of different space marines, and if they died off, there was permadeath. So they've done like really good Metroidvania games before, and this is just another one. So this is one of the best indie Metroidvania games I've ever played, which is crazy to think about. The fact that it is like tied to this stupid license, but a lot of times it comes up on PSN for like $5.
I didn't know this game existed.
This game is like a slam dunk for anyone who likes Metroidvania games. It's that good. And if you don't just take my word for it. I got Sean to play it, and he loves it too. So, there you go. Mummy
There you go.
Demastered. It's a game I've been, screaming from the rooftops for a long time, and because I think it's awesome. Anyways, we'll go around the horn and kind of give our little honorable mentions before we get into the deluge of questions we've got this week. So we'll start with Ron. Did you have any honorable mentions you wanted to shout out before we moved on?
Yeah, man, I'll throw out Disco Elysium out there, Lost in Random, The Pathless, Coffee Talk, South of the Circle, and Unfinished Swan. I'll put that out there too.
Okay, nice. Fulia, what about you?
I've only got a couple more, but Grease, especially on the PlayStation 5 with your DualSense controller, definitely play Grease.
And it's on the thumbnail.
Yes,
It
yes,
is.
it is the thumbnail. It's such a good game, really good. And Bed and Breakfast recently came to PlayStation. I've been playing it on the PC though, but it's on PlayStation. It's definitely a good, cozy, fun time, and the dialogue's just hilarious. And yeah,
So it's a game where Ron eats breakfast. Excellent.
Pretty
pretty
much.
much.
Yeah.
Favorite meal of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, and What Remains of Edith Finch. That's another one.
Yeah. As for me, I've got a few, but again, a lot of these are more popular ones. Of course, the Bloodstain games, Bloodstain Curse of the Moon, Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night, those games are really awesome. Of course, Ayuden Chronicles Rising, because Fulia didn't say it, I'm going to say it here.
Yeah, look, I wasn't sure if that was classed as an indie game.
It is an indie game.
It's a Fetch Quest
Okay.
game.
Yeah. It's made by, it's also made by Indie Creates, who made the
It is.
Azure Striker Gunvolt games that I mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
As well as the goat of all indie games, in my opinion, Shuffle Knight, one of the best games I've ever played. So, shout out to Shuffle Knight. But anyways, let's move on. Let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It is time for the carpool, and we got lots of interesting questions this week. So first off, shout out to everyone who asked questions this week. We really appreciate y'all in the PlayStation Drive community. Of course, I think one of the most talkative communities in the Carpool Gaming Discord, by the way, which I really appreciate. Also, mind you, most of them are going back and forth with Ron, but that,
Wow.
no, in a good way, not a bad way. This is me paying you a compliment. This is me paying you a compliment, good sir, not a negative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Calm your farm, Ron.
yeah. Calm your farm.
Hey, farms are calmed.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about Pepsi Man soon enough, so it's fine.
Okay.
There's your Pepsi Man reference this week, folks. All right, let's start with Quaggy, who says, and this is going to be a theme, by the way. It is I, Quaggy, king of the Xenobabes. I have a question regarding crown maintenance for your royal bareness and our platinum queen. Which products do you use for keeping your crown in pristine condition? Luckily, I don't have to answer this question because I don't have any crowns. It's all on y'all.
Goodness gracious.
I will start, and I will just say all I really need is just a nice lint-free cloth and just buff it. Just like a buff. Just needs a good buff. That's it.
Right.
And plus I keep my crown in a nice case, so I don't need to get dust or anything on it. So it's nice and clean and dust free, and we're good. Just give it a nice buff. That's all.
All right. Okay. Mine is the same way as Koala's, but I use Pledge multi-surface cleaner to get a little extra shine to it. Gotta have that bling, blind the eyes out.
Well, if we're using some form of like extra but like shiny chemicals, let's throw in some Jif stainless steel spray.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Jif is peanut butter, but
No, not here. It's not.
It could be, though.
In Australia, Jif is a cleaning product.
is it? Okay.
It is.
All right, I'll say peanut butter on the crown is not gonna be a good idea, but
I mean, when you said GIF, I just assumed you were going to put an animating image on your crown. And that's what you were
GIF.
doing over there. Well, actually, Fulia,
I know,
according
I know.
to
Here we
the inventor
go.
of the GIF, he refers to it as a GIF. So that's how we're supposed to say it.
oh Lord, I'm with you, Koala. It is GIF.
Yeah.
Good God. Thanks, Quake. All right, next question comes to us from HVAC Sparky. Hi, it is I, the HVAC Sparky. Anyways, in your opinion, within one of your favorite genres, what is the ideal length of a game for you? I mentioned a favorite genre because obviously this answer varies considerably from one genre to another. So yeah, I mean, first of all, The HVAC Sparky's correct in that you don't really, it depends on the genre of game. You probably don't want it to be like certain genres you want to be longer than others. For example, for me, one of my favorite genres of all time, horror games. You want those to be short. You don't want those to be long experiences, because if you get too used to the thing that's scary, it just becomes very trivial and just doesn't become scary anymore. For example, Alien Isolation is a game that's way longer than it needs to be, because that's like a 25-hour game. It doesn't need to be that long. Like a good length for a horror game is 5 to 6 hours, and giving you like focusing on the replay value is usually what I want it to be. Whereas role-playing games, like I would say the perfect length for me is 20 to 40 hours, I think. Like I like role-playing games that don't overstay their welcome. There are certain exceptions, of course, stuff like Persona that I don't mind when they're longer. But I like when a good role-playing game is like has like a nice and tight story and doesn't go on forever. And if they give you extra side stuff that pads out the length, I think that's fine too if it's not mandatory. But I'm curious what y'all think about this question. I'm going to start with Fulia because, like, first of all, like, how does this apply to some of your favorite genres?
So because I predominantly play a lot of the indie, wholesome, cozy style games and platformers, for me, for instance, if I was to play a visual novel, I don't want that to go for anything longer than like maybe 3, 4, maybe 5 hours. Well, Harmony the Fall of Reverie is an exception because that is just amazing and I could play through that many times. And plus that's a choice-based game as well. But if we're talking about just proper visual novels, like just point and click, nothing longer than like 3 to 4 hours is that's a good sweet spot for that. Sometimes even shorter than that, actually, depending on the story too, and the interactivity that you get out of it. So I would probably say a short experience with visual novels is a great experience. So we'll stick with that. And when it comes to platformers, because you're going through different levels, I'd like to have a bit of length to that. Like it needs some substance. So like, anything between, it could be like 8 to 12 hours, maybe a little bit longer, depending on what the platformer is. Side scrollers might be maybe a bit shorter, but something a bit more open worldy, like a Sackboy, would be really good in that sort of sense if you sort of play for that amount of time, and especially if you're playing with friends as well, you want to have a little bit of extra content in there. So they're generally the games that I play, and that's kind of where I go with when it comes to the genres that I usually play in terms of time. Everything else, like I'm still trying to figure out what other genres that I enjoy a lot of, in order to know lengthwise what I would prefer. For me at the moment, I can't say anything about RPGs just because I'm still trying to get through a lot of them. So I don't know for me what the perfect length is just yet. Although playing like action adventure games, kind of similar to like Final Fantasy 16, that one, for something that went for 40 hours, I enjoyed it purely because of the story beats. That was kind of the main reason why I didn't mind it being that long. I don't know how much more I would be able to take with action adventure games, but considering that a lot of RPGs that are up to maybe even more than 100 hours sometimes, they intimidate me so much because I don't know whether I'm getting to the end or not of the story, and it just feels like a very long time to me. And considering the fact that I've got quite the short attention span, so I kind of need something that isn't going to take too long. Otherwise, I'm going to drop off hard.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, I liked when you talked about visual novels and you're like, how it's good when they're short, because like it harkens me back to when I played the first visual novels that I really enjoyed, which is the Danganronpa games, because they also have detective elements too. So I mean, they're not 100% purely visual novels, but Danganronpa V3, that's like a 50-hour game, and it's a visual novel. So
yeah, wow, that's a long time.
It's like, God, if it was a book, it'd be bigger than War and Peace. Like it's so long.
Wow.
But at the same time, that's honestly one of my favorite games of the PlayStation 4 generation. So there are cases where if the pacing, I think, is really good on some of these games, like that's where those exceptions come in, where when it's okay to be longer than that. Like you talked about with Final Fantasy 16 in a lot of ways, because like you're right, Fulia, like with action adventure games, like I didn't bring that up, but like a lot of like open world action adventure games, like I want like the main story for those to be like 20 or 30 hours in most cases. Like I don't want them to be too long, because I always find like in most cases, if they go longer than that, just the pacing is kind of out of whack. But I'm curious to know, Ron, what you think about this question.
It's going to depend. If it's a game for me, where the gameplay is kind of focused on more than the story, and it's just an okay story, 10 to 20 hours is good. Because the gameplay, I can sit there and handle that, especially if it's really, really good. 10 to 20 hours seems about right. If it's a game that has a really great story, or if it's really great characters like an RPG, I can stay in that for 50 to plus 100 hours. All depends, really, especially if it's a RPG that has interesting gameplay along with that. Over that is too much. I saw Yarden mention Valhalla. That was too much.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up afterwards, because
that was too much. And I'm an Assassin's Creed fan, and Valhalla, man, that really tested my patience. That was just too bloated.
Well, I mean, that game never technically ends, because they're like AI generated quests, so that you can actually never run out of quests in that game.
Purposely ignored those, because I was not going to stay in that longer than I needed to.
Yeah. I think because going back to Jordan's question specifically, how long should an Assassin's Creed game be? I think it's for Assassin's Creed, I think they can be long. Like Odyssey, I think, is a great length. Even though it is on the longer side. But it just really depends on how the story is paced and stuff like that, because I think that has a lot to do with it. But otherwise, for the most part, they should be shorter. But nice. Good answers. Next up, we got Awesome Dave 1337, who says, "Hi, it is I, Awesome." No, he doesn't say that. As a huge fan of role-playing games and indies, what, in your opinions, are some good RPGs that can hold up against the GOAT, that is Final Fantasy VIII? I couldn't even get through that with a straight face. Ron, I think you will probably agree with me in this sentiment. Almost any role-playing game, you'd be hard-pressed to go wrong with picking any role-playing game that's better.
Right in the same belt, Rich, right? You can't go wrong. Any RPG is better than Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah. Can we do a high five here,
We
Ron?
can.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. No, in all seriousness, Final Fantasy VIII's fine. But I also feel like there's a lot of better role-playing games, like Rybo brings up here in the chat, Various Day Life.
Oh, no.
No, clearly
Running mates, stop this.
You could have had it for free, Ron. You could have had it for free.
Like I said, an RPG cave, sometimes free 99 is a setup.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, just have to stare at it in your library, just like I do every time I open my PlayStation library run, and I have to see Balan Wonderworld staring back at me.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Why have you not hitting that?
Yeah,
Me
too. Yeah. All aboard the Balan Wonderworld train. Let's go, baby.
Oh my goodness, no, guys.
We'll get Ron in there at some point. But seriously, first of all, Cosmic Star Heroine, better RPG than Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Yes,
right
it
there.
is. Yes, it is.
But I think there's lots of great RPGs. Again, this is such an open-ended question, Ron.
Yeah, we can talk about that for a whole show.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, go back and listen to our RPG cave on Monday, where we talked about this.
Yeah.
Ron was in the cave with me this week.
I was.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
We talked a lot about role-playing games there. A lot of good role-playing games. Miles_Ava_Amanda was also there, too. But we'll move on. Yon32 asks a completely unrelated question. What does barbecue mean to you? What's the best barbecue you've ever had? So, obviously, everyone's looking to Ron on this one because of where you live. Because, like, Fulia and I, we don't really live in places that are known for good barbecue.
Yeah.
So, Ron, kick it off, man.
I'm assuming when he asked about what is barbecue to me, I'm assuming he's talking about pulled pork barbecue. Pulled pork barbecue is great. I prefer vinegar-based over tomato-based, even though I have ran into a few good tomato-based ones. But vinegar-based is king to me. Man, there's a lot that are in my tops. I can't really pick a favorite one. There's in my city, we have a place called Peden's. There's one that did close down not too long ago. It was called Bed Souls. Their barbecue is fantastic. For a restaurant chain, Smithfield's is pretty good. And another place called Southern Coles. Their barbecue is great. I could eat that every day for the rest of my life. Wouldn't get sick of it. So there you go, John.
Nice. Yeah, what barbecue means to me is just great comfort food. Like, you know, hanging out in your backyard with your friends, you know, cooking something on the barbecue, but you're going to a fancy place.
So we call that a cookout or grilling out.
True.
No, that's what we call a barbecue.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's like when you go to a barbecue restaurant, it has that vibe, but, you know, on a fancier level in a lot of ways. Because, you know, having like a, you know, good thing of ribs with some mac and cheese and stuff like that with some cornbread. Oh man, that's a good day.
Give me some hush puppies with that. It's on.
Oh, dude, you're speaking my language.
Hush puppies?
Do you not know what hush puppies are, ma'am?
There's shoes here.
What? There's shoes here too, but they're food first.
Yeah.
I'll hook you up later. Vinegar based is cheeks. Locke, where have you been eating vinegar based at?
Yeah. I mean, throwing in your JB.
Thank you, JB.
On your side.
If vinegar based is cheeks, then I don't know. They must be doing something wrong.
Yeah. Now, explain hush puppies to Fulia real quick. We can't
it's
let this
pretty
go.
much just like it's pretty much just like cornbread, but it's fried.
Yeah.
Flour and it just they're done in several ways. I prefer the round, crispy ones, but they have the other kinds as well that are pretty good. But yeah, man, hush puppies are great. When you go to Extra Life, if you can find a soul food restaurant, they can hook you up.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we'll have to find somewhere in New York, along with Outback Steakhouse. We got to go there too.
Oh God.
Yeah. Look, we can't have Fulia come to America and feel left out that we didn't eat Australian cuisine.
So she can be offended when she sees the menu, like this is not Australian cuisine.
But think about it, Ron. In New York, like what is that's probably the closest we'll get to true, authentic Australian cuisine.
Yeah, you're probably right. But Outback is all right to me, though. I like.
That's what I mean. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
We'll see.
Oh, Yon 32 says there's one in Utica. There we go.
I'm gonna be very, very judgy of their menu.
Yeah.
You will, but you'll find something good to eat.
You'll open up the menu, you'll see the bloomin' onion, you'll be like, I'm home, the bloomin' onion.
I barely eat those. I will go through the menu and be like, all right, this doesn't sound so bad, have that.
Yeah. But seriously, Ron, I'm so jealous that because like here in Canada, like I said, we just don't really have like a lot of good barbecue places. At least here in Toronto.
Love me some good soul food.
Yeah. Barbecue here is not that, like, we have barbecues here, but it's not what the Americans call barbecue. But Ron, you mentioned that it's more of a cookout or a grill sort of a situation. I mean, even though it's still on coals. So with my parents at least, we do Turkish style barbecue, and that's over coals.
Okay.
And
is it pulled or is it chopped?
Oh no, it's like sausages and drumsticks, chicken drumsticks and like beef patties and whatnot, and sort of that sort of stuff. Like
okay, I
see
what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the barbecue that I know.
Yeah.
Now I'm damn hungry.
But I am very keen to try American barbecue because there's this show on Netflix called The Great American Barbecue Showdown, and my gosh, the stuff that they make on that show makes my mouth water every episode.
Well, Lachlan really says we should get barbecue together as a team, so I feel like Lachlan is on the right track there.
Yep.
You're really good. We'll mark it on the list. We'll add it to the list of places we need to go when we're in New York in November. But moving on, we got Brian Eck who says, with rumors of a PlayStation showcase coming in the second half of this month, what games would y'all like to see revealed by Sony's first permanent development studios, of which Brian actually included a photo of all of Sony's studios and then mentions that he wanted us to pick one from every studio, which we're not going to do because that would take way too long.
Oh, yeah.
To answer. And not only that, too, that's just, I think it's unrealistic because we aren't going to see that much from Sony at all at this state of play. But I'm curious to know what y'all think about this because, like, personally, to like give you guys some time to think on this, with this upcoming state of play, and we'll probably do like a predictions episode, by the way, as we get closer to when this is actually happening. But like, they've already told us earlier in the year that we not to expect like a Sony major first party release at all in this fiscal, basically until like March of 2025 at the earliest. So I don't, and I think they've learned their lesson where they don't announce stuff super early anymore. So I don't actually think we see much of anything other than maybe some smaller stuff from first party this year. And one of the ones, we've been hearing rumors about it, but like, and I can see that happening here is like an Astrobot from Asobi. Like, I think that's something we can see from first party. But otherwise, I feel like it's more going to be stuff like Stellar Blade or Final Fantasy, where like Sony's involved with the publishing in some way, or if it's a third party exclusive. Like Silent Hill is still supposed to come out this year, and Sony's like got the exclusive deal on that. So I'm expecting something like that. But like as far as first party goes, I don't really expect much. But I'm curious to know, like Ron, I think you'll be more into this than what do you think, man?
Man, there's several studios that I would like to see something from. But if we're going to be realistic, after last year's showcase, I'm not thinking that. I'm with you. I don't think we're going to get much, to be honest. I think the safest thing is to pretty much just lose expectations in. Everybody was so hyped last year, and then last year's showcase was just straight up cheeks. There was just nothing really good about that one. I don't want to say that they'll do a repeat of last year, but as far as anything where it's going to be like old E3 style when they was like every single thing they were announcing was hitting, I don't think we're going to have that for a while. At least maybe not until PlayStation 6 is about to roll around. And even then, maybe. I guess it depends on what everybody's working on, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very torn on what the showcase is going to be.
For sure. Like, I feel like whatever this showcase is going to be, it's just going to be like focusing on this fiscal year. Like, that's probably what the focus is going to be. So like, I would be very surprised if we saw something else. Because I know Yon32 in the chat says, no way, I'm going full Capri, Ghost of Tsushima 2, and Wolverine.
Hey,
I mean, maybe they sneak a trailer in there.
If
like
it happens, that would be fine. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not cool. I'm cool with surprises, but I got to keep the expectations in check.
No,
Can't let them fool me again.
I would be very surprised. I think we might see another Death Stranding 2 trailer, because I still think that's like...
Please, God, no.
At the early 2025. I mean, I can't wait for that game, Ron. No. I'm excited for DS too. And then we'll see it we'll not only see it there, but then we'll also see it at Summer Game Fest, because of course Keeley will have it as well.
Yes, of course he'll be there, and he'll be there to talk for 50 minutes with Kojima. Yeah. That'll be great.
And then he'll announce another podcast and stuff. It's going to be great.
Oh, God. This sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be like for the rest of the year, it's going to be third-party stuff. Maybe another remake or two. They could surprise us. Like we saw that rumor of that Lego Horizon game. Or even like the Horizon Zero Dawn remake, which we
and I can't even get excited for that, because it's just like, I don't know, man. Once again, it's like Horizon Zero Dawn just isn't old to me. But whatever, this is how Sony is doing now, so somebody will buy it, I guess.
Riley asks, what's Bluepoint working on? I think they're working on a new IP, but I think that's...
I hope they are. I'd rather be a new IP than a remake of anything.
I think that whatever they have next is at the earliest end of 2025, probably. But Fulia, Ron and I have talked a lot for a while. Do you have any thoughts about this particular? I know you're going to hide a little bit, but I still have to ask you anyways. I'm contractually obligated to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, Team Asobi, you want something from them, I'm sure.
Yeah, like a new Astrobot, that'd be cool, right?
I'm not very familiar with the names of developers.
Oh, they make the Astrobot's Playroom.
Okay, yeah, I'd like one of those. Please and thank you.
Yeah.
It's not a drink, Fulia. It's not a drink.
I mean, also...
I like Astrobot, okay?
Also, you mentioned Astrobot. Like, God forbid we might get more PlayStation VR games here.
God. Please, no. Please don't do that.
I don't have one of those. I don't want VR games.
I do, though. I want to play that.
I'm not paying more than what my PlayStation was worth on a freaking VR headset.
I only mentioned that because the original Astrobot game was a VR game. And it was probably the best game in PlayStation VR. So.
Oh, Sobi, please do not make another VR game, please. Not for a dying hardware.
Yeah. Look,
even Sony doesn't care about that thing anymore. Stop this.
Yeah.
Just give me a new Astrobot game. I really like the one that came with the PlayStation 5, so I just want something similar to that.
It's a good game.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think they really need to do much. Like as far as first party goes, like I think they've got enough exclusive stuff for the rest of the year to get people excited. That really they can like a smaller Astrobot game or something.
Bloodborne remake. That's pretty much PlayStation's Silk Song. It's not going to happen. No, Never worry 31st.
Well, I mean, Silk Song will come up before Bloodborne remake.
Oh, it will. It will.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're ever doing a Bloodborne remake. But yeah, like I think this year, like maybe an Astrobot game, maybe that Horizon remake, maybe that's all. Because I think that's probably all they need because they've got Silent Hill and some other stuff coming out later this year.
No Super Nintendo.
Jumping Flash VR game that would make people so motion sick.
You ain't lying. There's gonna be a lot of sick people on that one.
Yeah.
What the hell is Jumping Flash?
Oh, Jumping Flash.
You, ma'am?
Jumping Flash is a PS1 game.
It's a PS1 classic.
Yeah, it's something. Ron, can you vamp for me for a couple seconds?
Yeah. So, I'll try to give you a description. If you want to be a jumping robot rabbit, that's pretty much what Jumping Flash is. If you want to play it in VR, you're gonna get sick a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it looks a little bit like this. This is what it looks like. Now, mind you, this is like in a cave section, but if we like get out in the open, you're like jumping around.
Now, even this would almost make you want to barf.
Like doing this in VR, Fulia.
Okay, this kind of looks like, the Bugs Bunny game I mentioned on PS1, but first person.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, even the Bugs Bunny game I played, he wasn't hopping around, he was running.
Yeah, this is like a first person platforming game. Also, Jim Ryan is on record saying that this is his favorite PlayStation 1 game. So shout out to the GOAT, Jim Ryan, which by the way, I shouted this out because I was a special guest on Project X Talk this week, an Xbox podcast. And of course,
shame on you, traitor.
No, but I had to bring this up while I was on that Xbox podcast. I got myself a little Jim Ryan bobblehead in my collection. The GOAT himself, Jim Ryan.
I think I actually have that too.
Yeah, exactly. Because we gotta honor, of course, the greatest mind in PlayStation of all time.
Oh God.
Yeah, Yon32 just says multipass. There we go. But anyways, moving on. We've got Kiku who says, have you ever played a game just for the trophies? Maybe a game you weren't really enjoying, but it was an easy plat, so you powered through it just to get that platinum. Fulia is already immediately shaking her head. Yeah, so Fulia, tell me about it.
Okay, this is when Matt and Court had their thing, and they played and platinumed on stream the Beaver game.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. One of the darkest times in PlayStation history.
Yeah.
As soon as they did that, I'm like, cool, let me grab that. I'll platinum it. Boom,
God.
there was a platinum.
Oh my god.
That's my only cheat plat that I ever got. However, I will say, I have platinumed the game just for the sake of platinuming it, even though I've already played it on PC.
Oh.
And that's Alba, A Wildlife Adventure. Now, that was one reason why I wanted to play it again. It was just so that I could get the platinum trophy on it. However, I thought if I played it on the PlayStation, that I would have a better experience with it, because when I played it on PC, it was like, especially because I was streaming, it was very laggy, and it did not play well. Like, my experience with it wasn't great. So I thought if I played it on the PlayStation, then I might there might be a better experience out of it. Unfortunately, there were still some glitches in it as well on the PlayStation version, but I still ended up platinuming it just because I wanted to platinum it.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, it just depends. There are certain cases there, but you didn't really like force yourself to play it though, because you wanted the platinum or anything like that. Like, you were like not enjoling yourself, but you
she
were like,
played
I
the
have
Stroke
to
the Beaver game. She forced herself to play that.
Well, no, that's easy though. You can beat that in an hour. It's fine.
2 minutes.
So Ron, with your vehement head shaking, I'm assuming that this is a hard no for you. You don't.
Yeah. If you're not earning the platinum, then no, that's not happening. I don't do that over here.
Yeah.
I didn't say I'd do it very often. That's probably the only couple of times that I've done it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Suspicious.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
time to investigate.
There are games that I have played that are easy platinums, but I didn't play them because they're easy platinums. Especially visual novels are like that, because visual novels, as Fulia may know, are generally easy platinums, because 9 times out of 10, it's usually play to the end of the visual novel and you get the platinum trophy.
But you're still earning it, though. It's not just here, hold for 5 seconds.
100%. Although some of those games run, if you usually have a fast forward mode, and if you turn the fast forward mode on to top speed, it just plays the visual novel for you, and you just get the platinum.
Oh Lord, Jesus.
That is an option with a lot of these games.
Why?
But I'm just saying that I've never done that myself. But that's like what people usually think of as, a game that I've played that's like that fits into that mold. But I did have a moment of weakness like Fulia did, because I used to play, used to listen to Podcast Beyond back in the day with Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty. And one game they talked about on there that was very infamous in the PlayStation sphere is My Name is Mayo, which is a game where you have a mayonnaise jar and you tap on it. And the more you tap on it, eventually you unlock the platinum, basically, on 3 different platforms, which I did. So I have the platinum for My Name is Mayo 3 different times.
Oh, my goodness.
That was the only time I ever did that, where I bought a game for the platinum. But otherwise, I'm not really like that, because my platinum trophy rate is very low, despite the number of games I've played, because honestly, I only ever really go for the platinum if it's, easy to attain or reasonable to obtain, and I'm enjoying the game anyways. Like Mass Effect 1. I think the Mass Effect 1 platinum trophy is, very attainable. And I actually have the platinum for Mass Effect on the PS3, the 1,000 gamer score on Xbox, and the platinum for Mass Effect 1 in the Legendary Edition.
The gamer score doesn't count.
I know. But just to throw it out there, I've basically done the platinum equivalent 3 different times for Mass Effect 1, because that's how much I love Mass Effect 1, Ron. That's just who I am.
Mass Effect 1 was great. There's nothing wrong with that, sir.
I mean, there's other games I've done with that too, like Alien Isolation. I have the 1,000 gamer score and the platinum trophy for that game, because I love that game too. So there are certain cases where I'll do that with. But for the most part, no. If I have an easy platinum, it's because I was playing the game anyways, and it just happened to easily have one. Like Sakura Succubus, because I love visual novels. So there you go. But I love the fact that the chat's talking about cat lateral damage as well, because that's also like kind of an easy platinum. I played that game on PlayStation Plus. It's a game where you play as a cat and you go around in the living room and mess it up. Basically, it's fun.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, cat lateral damage. It's spelled like literally. It's great. But anyways, last question, or should I say questions, comes to us from Black Wyver, who says, "Hello, it is I, Black." No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that this time. Good afternoon, Fab 4. Even though there's 3 of us tonight. Also, welcome back, Fulia. I've got a few questions for you all. Number 1, when do you normally call it quits on a game when you know it's not your jam? Is there a certain number of hours or percentage of a game that you need to play, or do you just suffer through it all? Ron, perfect example this week. Dr. Pat Traveler.
Yeah, when it's just not fun anymore, man. There's no time limit or a percentage. It's just the vibe. If after a while, when you're just like, I am just not feeling this at all, it's time to drop it. There's always slow moments and sometimes aha moments that happen. That's what happened with me and Prey. The first initial few hours of Prey, it just wasn't clicking for me, and I almost dropped it, but there came a certain moment where all of a sudden it clicked, and after that, it started rolling, became a great game. But I don't really have any kind of like time frame. It's just the way I'm feeling about it.
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, I'm kind of in the same sentiment, Ron, where like, if a game's not fun, I'm just going to put it down. And I always like to, I don't always give a game a certain number of hours, but I usually at least want to get through the beginning, like through the tutorial and stuff, because maybe a game just has a bad beginning. And maybe
it happens. There are games like that.
And you might just really enjoy the rest of the experience. So I do like to give a game that I really want to at least try and give it a serious go, at least, 5 hours. I think that's usually the ballpark for most games is usually 5 hours. If I'm not enjoying it after 5 hours, then I know it's usually never going to get me. Is kind of how I feel about it. So, but that of course that just also depends on the game, because some games, like role-playing games, like a game like Persona 5, the first 5 hours you aren't even out of the tutorial yet. At that point. So, it's one of those things where RPGs for me even get a little bit more leeway, where I think I even sink a little bit more time into them. But even something like Elden Ring, I gave it 30 hours and I wasn't really enjoying it. And I just put it down and I don't feel bad about it.
Well, 30 hours, man. I mean, hey, you gave it a hell of a try.
I gave it an honest try.
Yeah,
just
30 hours. You ain't lying.
Yeah, just like The Witcher 3. You know, same deal. I gave it 50 hours, Ron.
Oh.
And then I finally put it down because I was enjoying the story so much, but the act of playing The Witcher 3 I did not enjoy.
Yeah.
But Fulia, I'm curious to know what you think about this question.
I think this is why I prefer playing demos first, because if I'm gonna pick up a game and then not enjoy it, then I've just wasted my money on it, and I really don't want to have to do that. And I think that's kind of also the reason why I like the PlayStation Plus library, because it gives me the opportunity to try games I normally wouldn't go out of my way to pay for. So, and case in point, God of War 2018.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
It's a good one.
The Atreus hate.
No. Hold on. Wait, no.
But you know what?
Relax,
I feel like
Max.
she gave it a good try because you talked about it a lot on the show.
She did.
I did. I played through quite a, like, I'm going to say a good chunk of it. I played through quite a bit of it. But for some reason, I think it was just the style of game that just wasn't hitting, and the story wasn't really, like, hitting me the way that a lot of people got hit with it. So for me, it really just comes down to just whether or not I'm into either the story or the gameplay. And if after giving it some time, I'm still not really jiving with it, then I probably will end up shelving it. Yes, Ron?
Hi. Do you think that you would have enjoyed God of War 2018 more if perhaps it was a bit cozier and Kratos had hugged Atreus more?
That is not the point.
Ron, I hate to burst your bubble here, but you're actually outnumbered 2-1 on this podcast currently by people who don't actually enjoy God of War 2018.
Hey, it's fine.
I actually don't like that game either.
It's all right.
Like,
But-
I'm not saying...
But unlike Fulia, I actually forced myself to keep playing it even though I wasn't enjoying it.
Oh, well, see, that's madness.
Because
No,
I
you
wasn't
shouldn't do that.
also I was also just not enjoying the story either. Like I think like Fulia, actually you brought up a good point about the story, because like I felt like if you like maybe had certain life experiences, or maybe like especially if you're like a parent, for example, I think the story really hits you in a different way than if you don't have children, as an example.
That's fair.
Like
I
it's
can see
harder
that.
for me to resonate with the father-son bond in a lot of ways, or I just wasn't really into, you know, the Atreus and Kratos' relationship or a lot of that world even. It just wasn't really interesting to me. So I like the story didn't grab me in the way that it did with a lot of people. And then the combat I just thought was okay. So, I mean, I personally wasn't into it either.
Yarden.
Sorry.
Don't worry. I'm still here, Yarden.
Well, actually, Yarden, here's the thing. That's how you can tell that this is actually a true PlayStation podcast, because we are not afraid to call out Sony when we don't like
That's true.
games
That's
that
true.
Sony
I'm not a
makes.
Death Stranding fan, and apparently I'm
That's
the
what I mean.
minority for sure on that.
We don't need to like everything they put out. We're not Sony marketing people. Like we are true, tried and true PlayStation fans, and we are totally okay with not liking everything they like.
it
Maybe not
happens.
everything's for us, you know?
Yeah.
Like I mean, all of us here, none of us like the show, but you know, it's one of their
True.
biggest games ever.
Not trying to fall asleep.
Yeah.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's all good.
I
Or
wouldn't
Final
have
Fantasy
ever
VIII.
played the show.
That's not a Sony game. That's swearing.
Doesn't matter. I just wanted to diss it. Just wanted to diss it.
You're just making Awesome Dave 1337 cry over there.
Chillax, Max.
Yeah.
I love Dave.
Calm your
He
farm,
knows
Ron.
this. Far out.
Anyways, moving on. Inspired by Quaggy's question from last week, or was it a brain teaser / trivia? Which game did you find was too difficult, from a puzzle aspect, that had you rage quit? So were there games where the puzzles were too hard? Because like, I have the prime example for this one. This is one that I knew wasn't going to be for me. I tried it anyways because it was on PlayStation Plus, and immediately got out because the puzzles were too hard, because it was like having to learn a second language, because that game is that one game, you know,
The Witness?
The Witness. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
for
sir.
wondering.
I'm
I
with
got
you.
to the edge of the diving board and the name left my
How did
brain.
you know that's what he was going to say?
Because I hate it.
No, for some reason, because I knew the the witness, but for some reason, right when I was about to say it, it just left my brain.
Oh, PTSD. Believe me, I understand.
No, that game is like you need like a degree in some kind of puzzle related degree in order to get the puzzles in that game. It's too smart for me.
I'm with you. I'm fully with you. I tried it and I was just like, yeah, this is a no.
Yep. Talos Principle, by the way, is also up there too. Too hard.
Yep.
Too
multi-pass
too
for that one
me.
also. Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Fulia, is there a game where you've rage quit because of the puzzles?
No, I don't think so.
Puzzle master over here.
I'm sort of trying to go through, like I'm going through my library of games that I've played that are puzzle games. Not very many of them that I don't think I've ever rage quit a puzzle game, to be honest.
Yeah.
I will say though, Mystic Pillars is quite difficult. And it is on PlayStation Plus library if anyone wants to check it out. It is a puzzle game. But like I've played through a little bit of it, but I got to a point where I ended up shelving it just because of how difficult the puzzle aspect was, because there was some math involved and my brain was very tired, so I ended up using a guide to get through half of them if I couldn't figure it out after like 5 minutes.
Sometimes you got to do that. It happens.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Lockworth understands what I'm trying to say.
Lockworth points out that it's math.
I love math, and even I don't want to play this game.
I mean,
like the story aspect of the game is pretty cool. I kind of like it's very intriguing, but the fact that you have to solve these puzzles by doing math in your head, it just sucks a little bit.
I can't see how this would have a good story. I don't know.
Are you
trying to be a professor?
Story.
I mean, please explain to me. I don't understand.
It's an interesting story, but it has math, and that, yeah. Anyway,
I would rather just go back to calculus class.
No, thank you.
Oh
I'm
boy.
Good. No, I don't think I haven't rage quit any kind of puzzle game, to be honest. So
all those crowns, puzzle queen, RPG queen. Look at that, everything.
Yeah.
PSD queen. Good lord.
And to be fair, I'm like fully over. I like traditional puzzle games. You know, stuff like Tetris or Puyo Puyo and stuff like that. Like I like those type of puzzle games. Like Luminous as well is one of my favorites. But like when you're getting into like 3D open space puzzles, and they're those games that are basically designed to like have you use real world logic combined with math to solve puzzles. That's why I'm like, thank you. Just get me out here. Multi-pass, as Ron says. Mm-hmm. But
indeed.
What about you, Ron? What do you think?
Nope. Like I said, outside of Talos Principle and The Witness, yeah, I tried both of those. I don't even know why I tried them. I think I just tried them just for the hell of it. Nope.
Well, again, The Witness, like I think everyone tried it because it was like there was 1 month where it was redeemable on PlayStation Plus Extra.
That's why. Yeah, that may have been the reason why I tried it. And it was the talk of the town, so I was like, well, let me see what's going on here.
Because that's when I tried it. Was when it was free and everyone got a chance to play it for free. So, yeah. But
actually, I will mention, and I'm pretty sure this is a puzzle game. No,
Legend of Zelda does not count. Legend of Zelda does not. Okay.
I don't like Legend of Zelda. What are you talking about?
But the question specifically didn't ask about puzzle games, but puzzles in games.
Puzzles in games?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've like rage quit from puzzles in games, to be honest. Yeah.
I've definitely gotten frustrated with puzzles in, certain traditional, like non-puzzle games because they were very obtuse.
Yeah,
like going back to some of the old God of War games, Ron, on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Some of those puzzles, they're not difficult, but they're like obtuse and you have to like think outside the box a little bit, or you have to like scan the environment, but the PS2 is not very detailed. So like you'll miss like a certain little thing that you might need to pull or something. Like something like that, I think is very annoying.
Yeah. Some of those old adventure games I wasn't a fan of because you had to take the rubber chicken and combine it with the salt shaker. And you'd be like, what?
Yeah. The Secret of Monkey Island is very much like that. Yeah.
Have you not played Secret of Monkey Island or any of those old adventure games? Yeah, those puzzles are crazy.
Yeah. Go back and play Full Throttle on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
A Tim Schafer masterpiece, by the way. I love the story.
You want to talk about obtuse puzzles?
Full Throttle, but man, the puzzles are so obtuse. Like you got to you pick up a rat and then you got to throw it at this light to like distract this guard, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Like what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah. Very bizarre.
I
even though
will
love
say, okay, Portal 2 got close because that's a puzzle game.
Yeah, it is.
And I got pretty close to rage quitting that. But thankfully, because I was also streaming this game.
Is the stream still available? I have to see this.
A viewer was kind enough to help guide me through the areas I got stuck at. Because there was some area, especially in the later game of Portal 2, it got quite difficult where they added in the paint elements, where they've got like the gels, and that kind of threw me off quite a bit towards the end. So it did get a little difficult for me. I almost rage quit that, but I persevered. I'm like, no, I want to see it through. I'm pretty close to the end. And I was very happy that I did. But
I didn't
overall,
play Portal games because of that. I didn't want to play Portal games.
I still enjoyed Portal 2 to the point where I ended up going back and playing Portal 1 because I never played Portal 1.
Well, clearly it was only because Cave Johnson, of course, was talking you through the whole experience when you were in that basement there.
Yeah.
Of course, voiced by J. Jonah Jameson himself. So, also I like Super Nintendad's point here. Do stealth sections in non-stealth games count as puzzles? Because I'm not a fan of those. Because I totally get that.
Understandable. Yeah, because some of that can kind of crappy.
Oh, Fulia, did you ever play the co-op for Portal 2?
I tried, yes.
Okay, because that gets really complicated.
I don't think I've managed to get through the whole campaign of that, but I did play a few levels, yes.
Okay, because that's when it gets really hard. With the puzzles.
It was nuts.
You got to balance 4 portal guns, and it's a whole thing.
Nope.
Multi-pass for Ron.
Definitely.
Yep. And then last question from Black Wyver, but also final question of the show, comes to us from Black Wyver once again, who says, I've been playing Stellar Blade and enjoying it, but I think it's lacking in the narrative/story aspect. Since this game is heavily inspired from Nier and other similar games, what are some of these games like? I've never played them. I'm genuinely asking. So we are missing the Nier master himself.
I was about to say, the
Matt,
Nier groupie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we don't really have like the Nier love as much here. I think I really like Nier, but the story wasn't even my favorite aspect of Nier.
Yeah, the gameplay is very entertaining. Yeah,
the gameplay is what I really liked from Nier, like the fast-paced
combat.
Story is very yeah, but I mean, it kind of goes places.
It's not cheeks. The story's not cheeks, but
it's a very anime story. I think,
it is
in a lot of ways,
and not in a good way.
No,
it's very meh anime.
Yeah, I do think that the story in Nier gets better as it goes on, because I think like when you get to like the third character you play as, the story gets really interesting. But anyways, that's the thing. Like I don't have like a lot of good comparisons. I know, Matt, if he was here, he'd be arguing against me because he really enjoys the
Maybe
story.
we can have Matt when he comes back. Maybe he can tackle that one for him.
But interestingly enough, because Black Wyver mentions that a lot of games like Stellar Blade have good stories, and I would actually argue against that, because I think a lot of fast action games just are usually have very silly stories, or they just don't really have like very good stories. Like when you look at like the Bayonetta stories or the
Vanquish.
Devil May Cry stories, Vanquish, Ninja Gaiden, like none of those games have great stories, but they're so fun to play that you will just play through them regardless of how stupid and silly the stories are.
Yeah.
In fact, usually with games like that, Ron, I don't know about you, but like I actually prefer it when they just get silly with the story, because you're there for the gameplay anyways. So if they can be like funny, or they can be over the top, like that's more what I'm looking for with those games with the story.
That's fine. I mean, when you know what works and you can lean into it, that's fine. Vanquish had its silly moments and it was kind of corny, but the combat in that was great. Like you said, Bayonetta was the same way. Binary Domain.
Yep.
I absolutely love that game, but it's very corny and very silly. But
don't forget about the most over-the-top goat out there, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the story in that game, Ron. Oh, my God. It's so stupid. but
that one is,
I mean, it's got Revengeance in the title, okay? Like, what were you expecting from the story? But I love the gameplay from that game. It's so good. And Fulia is just like, what do you got?
Yeah, Fulia's like, okay, what's going on? She's space traveling.
Yeah.
I'm lost.
Yeah. It's all good. Well, anyways, I think that's going to do it for tonight's episode of the PlayStation Drive. But before we go, we have to once again thank all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, starting with our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on this podcast, as well as the Xbox Drive. You can find out the link tree to all of his music over at PME down in the description below, or linktr.ee/PME/JRB. And also Cwagmire, who humbly reminds you that the best babes are in fact Xenobabes. Our platinum producers, who of course are the official tier of the PlayStation Drive, Robby, Bobby Miller, Tim Paullin, and Smokin Joe. And our gold members, the second official tier of the PlayStation Drive, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, the Final Fantasy VII Master, BobLoblaw, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, CowboyDangerD, CrocoKyle, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Emily O'Kelly, Jan32, Patrice Mallette, Peje EP, Shane Erickson, Tim, Aulph, and Tux. So thank you once again to all of our patrons over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. If you want to hop in the car with us, head on over there and choose the tier that's right for you. And now, Ron, plugs go.
Savoy Prime on PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, backlogged. Savoy_Prime on Twitter.
Nice. Fulia, where can people find you?
foolishfuji.card.co.
Card.co.
It'll give you all the links to all of the things that I am on, including my socials and the platforms that I make content on.
Nice. As for me, you can find me on the old Twitter, aka X, at Ryan Turford. You can also find us on X at Carpool Gaming. You also can find Matt on Twitter at Nagachakas, even though he's not here. Give him a shout out as well.
That's right. Show love to the squirrel.
Absolutely. You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/carpoolgaming. Of course, podcast services around the globe. Also, shout out to Kevin Ainsworth, the Muffin Mon himself, for having me on Project X Talk this week, talking about Xbox.
Yeah, the
Go
wizard.
Listen to that.
Shout out.
Yeah, we had lots to say this week. But anyways, for Fulia and Ron, I'm Ryan. This has been the PlayStation Drive, episode 149. Only one more episode until 150, and we're out. Good night, everybody.
Adios, friends. Thanks for checking out this week's episode of the PlayStation Drive. Now, before you drive off, please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us at Carpool Gaming on socials. Don't forget to check out our awesome merch on carpoolgaming.com, and you can also support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, where you'll unlock all kinds of exclusive content. Links to everything are in the description.